Chapter 41 The Fear of Being Dominated by Qin Luo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lottery? Qin Luo's mouth twitched. The recipe for Lei Bai's drink is still only lying in the system warehouse. To be honest, he no longer has any hope for this illusory lottery. In contrast, he is still a scholar. Second high school. Qin Luo asked with a smile. Good. Slacker student. What did you say? Several people stood up immediately and scolded Qin Luo angrily. No one has ever dared to say that they are scumbags. Qin Luo is the first. Slacker student. You. Why don't we make a bet? What to bet? Just bet on the test score. Ha ha ha. Are you sure that if they bet anything else, they might consider it, but points? This is what they are most proud of, and they fear no one in this regard. What's the stake? How about singing Conquest in front of the whole school? Qin Luo asked tentatively. Since opening the evaluation system, Qin Luo's pursuit is not just to complete the task, but to complete the task perfectly. That's what you said. I hope you won't regret it then. Don't worry, I have recorded it. I promise not to regret it. Qin Luo shook the phone and said with a smile. Ding bell bell. Accompanied by the end of the exam, a large number of students swarmed out. The first time, I found the same here. There is no way, a group of students standing together, it is difficult not to attract attention. Qin Luo. Suddenly, a cold voice entered Qin Luo's ears. According to the voice, it is still an acquaintance. Huang Zitao hurried towards here. I didn't expect to meet me here. Huang Zitao said proudly. Qin Luo just smiled lightly. Actually, I already knew it. You. Hearing Qin Luo's words, Huang Zitao's anger rose a lot, and the pride on his face was swept away. You must know that for today's meeting, he had prepared for a long time. Training hell. But now Qin Luo's indifferent tone made Huang Zitao feel like he was punching the cotton with his energy, and he was about to go crazy. Humph. Resisting the anger in his heart, Huang Zitao snorted and stared at Qin Luohan with cold eyes. I'm not afraid to tell you, in the past 2 months, I have already finished my studies. The content of the second. Sophomore. Everyone present was horrified, and even the academic masters of No. 2 middle school were horrified. The studies in the third year of high school are already heavy, but Huang Zitao can spare no effort to prepare for the knowledge of the university, and even learn the second year, which is simply appalling. As expected, he is a person praised by Teacher Lin. He does have 2 brushes. I see that Huang Zitao is the only one in the provincial team this time. Not only is he handsome, but he also studies so well. People are more popular than people. After a short silence, there was a sudden burst of exclamation like a tsunami. Huang Zitao, this transfer student, he can indeed be called a scholar. The exclamations came one after another, and the pride returned to his face. Huang Zitao looked at Qin Luo with disdain, and said, Qin Luo, my thanks, you made me become a better version of myself. So, I will use the score to let you know what despair is. Are you ready to sing Conquest? Qin Luo said with a faint smile. As soon as the words came out, Huang Zitao shivered in anger. He thought of the fear of being dominated by Qin Luo 2 months ago. Chapter 42. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Let's see. With a harsh word, Huang Zitao left the school without looking back. The system has detected the anger of the scumbag, and the host's mastery value +10. Student Huang, walk slowly. You can come to me at any time if you have anything. I promise not to mention Conquest. Qin Luo shouted. The system detects the anger of the scumbags, and the host's mastery value +100. 0.100 points. Qin Luo was startled. How much Huang Zitao hated him, but for Qin Luo, the more Huang Zitao hates himself, the better. Huang Zitao escaped. For a time, everyone was stunned. They could never have imagined such an ending. Originally, Huang Zitao's words were fierce, as if he was going to tear Qin Luo into pieces, but before everyone could regain their senses, the situation had changed dramatically. Qin Luo scared the aggressive Huang Zitao to the ground in one sentence, "This is too funny, who can tell us what happened to this special girl?" The students of the second middle school were stunned and confused. "So are you ready to be the next Huang Zitao?" Watching Huang Zitao leave the school, Qin Luo set his eager eyes on the second middle school bully. "There's no way, the Xueba value is simply not enough." This made Qin Luo feel an inexplicable sense of crisis. He had to develop offline all the time and reserve a lot of experienced babies. "Qin Luo, Wei Zihao, remember you?" The leader of a university tyrant named Wei Zihao glared at Qin Luo fiercely, and turned around and left with the group of elementary school tyrants. Detected the anger of Su Yang, the scumbag, and the host's academic power +10. Detected the anger of the student scum Song Xingyu, the host's academic hegemony value +8. Although not much is added individually, dozens of points are added together, which is great. What are you looking at? You all think that you are like a scholar who can get a full score without reading a book, so why don't you go back and read? After speaking, Qin Luo turned his head and left, not giving the audience a chance to fight back. "Arrogant, really arrogant, they have never seen such an arrogant person." For a time, everyone was indignant. Detected the anger of the scumbag Li Xiangyang, the host's academic value +1 +2. A series of prompts sounded, and the scholar value increased again. Of course, Huang Zitao provided Qin Luo with a long-term and stable income. Huang Zitao is a good man. Qin Luo's eyes brightened when he saw a large piece of income records. Originally, he didn't care about the previous 4 or 5 10-point income at all. However, it now appears that this is simply a weapon of mass destruction. It's better to be happy alone than to be happy. What's the point of pretending to be forceful in front of one person? A real warrior has to pretend to be forceful in front of a group of people. There are only 2310 people now, and the results have not come down. The lethality caused is not large. If the results come down, then it will not explode. Thinking about it, he couldn't contain his excitement. "Marking teacher, please mark your papers faster, I can't wait any longer." As night fell, the Beishan City Education Department was brightly lit. A total of 80 examination papers have been approved for the city's mathematics competition. In order to ensure the fairness of the scoring mode of the college entrance examination was adopted this time. The teacher is divided into 4 groups, and each group reads one type of question. After the examination is completed, they are exchanged with each other. For example, the group that initially read the multiple-choice questions changed to read the fill-in-the-blank questions, the group that read the fill-in-the-blank questions turned to the calculation questions, and so on. Chapter 43 Ranking Day, 151 points. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A test paper is graded 4 times in total to ensure absolute fairness. Bang! A thick stack of test papers was thrown heavily on the table, and Li Xueming, the leader of the Beishan City Mathematics Research Group, looked a little ugly. "I know the exam questions are more difficult this time, but it won't be that difficult, right? There are only 3 perfect answers in Beishan City. It's 10 less than us last year." The team leader didn't know that last year's questions were too simple to reflect the authority of the exam, so we increased the difficulty this year, said a judge, who was one of the questioners for the first test of this year's competition. "It's okay to increase the difficulty, but you can't make the test questions too difficult. Look at the test questions. Some of them already involve the content of the university." Li Xueming said with a displeased face. There were only 3 full marks in the city, which made his team leader's face dull. "Leader Li, isn't the purpose of our participation in the digital union to select talents?" The middle-aged judge continued. "Since it is to select talents, there is no problem with moving forward. By the way, the team leader still has a test paper in my hand that has not been counted. This one is quite special." After speaking, he picked up the test paper and handed it to Li Xueming. "Please review it by the team leader. I'd rather see what's special." Beishan No. 4 Middle School, Qin Luo. Li Xueming nodded slightly. He is the leader of the mathematics research group. As a group leader, he generally does not participate in marking papers. His work is mainly to investigate mathematics teaching activities in various schools and make final decisions on major issues. 150, plus or minus, 1, what does this mean? Li Xueming frowned, a hint of coldness flashed across his eyes, and said sternly, math is a rigorous science, 150 is 150, 149 is 149. I don't want to get a perfect score. Lose the rigor of mathematics. It's such a team leader. Qin Luo's papers are clean and tidy, the whole answering process is done in one go, and there is no error in the steps to solve the problem, and what is even more rare is that he fully utilizes high school knowledge. So I think 150 points is the point he deserves, and that point I'm more inclined to add as an encouragement. The middle-aged judge said with a smile, this is also the result of the common deliberation of all our grading teachers. However, there is also a problem. His answer is too rigorous. It is so rigorous that people can't believe that this is an answer written by a high school student, so he has the plus or minus 1 point. Marking is a very tedious job, with all kinds of strange answers, and the proof process is not the same. When encountering a more complicated question, the student's test paper must be corrected, and the marking teacher even spends time to help the students find the answer, but Qin Luo didn't have any of these things. He proved that the process was rigorous, the answer was correct, and he didn't even make any corrections. He was like a rigorous and hopeless machine, without a trace of mistakes. In this way, he gave birth to a feeling that Qin Luo was cheating, plus or minus 1 point. The decision is in the hands of Li Xueming. Li Xueming didn't speak, he frowned, and his right index finger tapped the table rhythmically. The entire reading room wanted to die. 151. After a long while, Li Xueming finally made a decision. Phew, the middle-aged judge let out a long sigh of relief. Compared with the latter, he prefers the former. Qin Luo has the strength to hold an extra point. The first 151 points in the history of the Digital Union. The next day. Commonly known as, Release Day. On this day, according to the rules of the numerology, the results of the first test will be announced. Chapter 44 Beishan No. 4 Middle School, Qin Luo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Huang Zitao came to No. 1 Middle School early and quietly waited for the score to arrive. He has absolute confidence in himself, and he is confident that he can get full marks. Soon, the first test scores will be announced. The perfect popularity is, Huang Zitao, Wei Zihao, Zhang Jing. In an instant, the entire classroom of Beishan No. 2 Middle School was boiling. Among the 3 full score winners in Beishan City, they accounted for 2 of them. It's very cold at the heights. Lin Tianxian took a sip of the freshly brewed tea, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. 140. No, 130 no. There is no more behind. Qin Luo's name seems to sink into the sea and disappear completely. 1. Huang Zitao squeezed his fist fiercely. For a long time, there was a stone in his heart that was Qin Luo. Thinking of him, Huang Zitao's teeth itch with hatred. Simply, now that everything is over, he is only a temporary luck in the final examination. This time, the digital couplet completely brought him back to his original shape. Oh, it turned out to be a wax head of a silver gun. It's not useful. Wei Zihao's thin lips slowly opened a playful arc. Originally, he thought that Qin Luo had some ability, but from the current situation, he just put a green onion in the nose of a pig, just pretending to be an elephant. No matter how Qin Luo pretended to be, it wouldn't change his essence. Beishan No. 4 Middle School, Lounge. Because the competition was divided into 3 days, No. 1 Middle School deliberately vacated 8 classrooms as the players' lounge. At this moment, there was silence in the whole lounge, down to the scoundrel Lin Shanshan, up to the teacher Chen Shuqing. Everyone's faces were ashen, and their eyes widened in horror. In the entire Beishan No. 4 Middle School, not a single person got a full score, and even Huang Zhen was the only one who got over 140. Even Qin Luo couldn't reach it. How can that be? Papa. The teacup slipped and shattered when it hit the ground. Chen Shuqing's face was ashes. He originally thought that this session was the year he had the best chance to make a breakthrough, but the result was far beyond his expectations. Not only did it fail to break through the results of previous years, it even dropped a lot. Maybe, this time there is not even a second place in the consolation prize. Maybe I'm really not suitable to be a mentor. Chen Shuqing whispered. Repeated failures made him doubt himself. Teacher, are we still taking the next exam? Huang Zhen frowned and asked with a wry smile. In the first test, the entire Beishan No. 4 middle school was wiped out. The second test was more difficult than the first test. Do they still need to participate? Participate. Why don't you participate? The second and third trials are the time to decide the outcome, and we still have a chance. Chen Shuqing swept away his previous decadence, and stood up with a hoe, and said loudly, it's not until the end. We will never admit defeat. Last. Everyone only smiled bitterly, as if they had already seen the ending of failure. At this moment, there was another noise on the broadcast, and soon a full-fledged voice came from the broadcast. Hello, teachers, I am the leader of the joint review team this time, Li Xueming. This time, everyone already knows the results of the first test, but I still have a test paper in my hand. The owner of the test paper is Qin Luo from Beishan No. 4 Middle School. Qin Luo. Suddenly, everyone's eyes were focused on Qin Luo. Chen Shuqing's eyes suddenly widened, and he had a strong premonition that the matter was not over yet. Not only him, other lounges also fell silent at this moment. Chapter 45. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Everyone quietly waited for Li Xueming's next words. Since the inception of Math League, he is the first contestant to get extra points, and his score is an unprecedented 151 points. At this moment, Beishan No. 1 Middle School was silent. Everyone was horrified and full of incredible expressions. Out of 150 points, Qin Luo scored an unprecedented 151 points. This is the first time in the Math League's decades-long history. It's so possible. Lin Tianxian was stunned. The teacup in his hand slammed onto the ground, and the splashed water wet his shoes. Huang Zitao was even more stunned in place. His pupils contracted sharply, and his chest rose and fell rapidly. Originally, he was already winning, but now the cooked duck is flying. How could this be? Impossible. How can there be 151 points? I don't believe it. Wei Zihao, who was also a perfect score winner, blushed and shouted loudly. This kind of picture happened in every lounge, and the group was excited for a while. Impossible, Qin Luo is definitely cheating. Why does he have extra points? It's not fair. Protest, protest. Additional points. They didn't even say they met, they didn't even hear it. The lounge of Beishan No. 4 Middle School was surprisingly quiet at this moment. No one spoke, no one moved, not even breathing. Everyone stared at Qin Luo with wide eyes, staring at this math. The first person in the history of the league to get extra points. How did you do it? Chen Shuqing asked aloud after a long while. Today, he has experienced the most ups and downs in his life. It is indeed despair when he comes with complacency, but when the complete despair is over, hope is rekindled. Qin Luo was born out of nowhere, and his skills overwhelmed the heroes, and the arrogance of a group of geniuses alone could not lift their heads. 151 points. This 150 points are completely two concepts. Countless people have reached the former, but only one of the latter. I made it with a pen. Qin Luo thought about it and said, not only everyone didn't think of it, even Qin Luo himself didn't think of it. His original plan was to get a full score, but Li Xueming gave him a surprise. Made with a pen. Why can't we do it? Huang Zhen's face was filled with resentment. Detected the resentment of Huang Zhen, the academic scum, the host's academic power plus 50. Lin Shanshan. It's 110 points of academic hegemony again, which is wonderful. Qin Luoqiang endured the joy in his heart and slowly stood up. Everyone, don't be discouraged. But before he could finish speaking, the door of the lounge was kicked open with a bang. Then a group of teachers flooded in. Chen Shuqing, we need an explanation. Yes, there has never been an additional point in history. Why does he have it? He, even if you want to cheat, please be smart. This kind of move is too low level. For a time, everyone glared at Chen Shuqing, it must be him, he must be the one who pulls the relationship, which makes Qin Luo extra point out of thin air. Chen Shuqing was not angry at the anger of the crowd. He picked up the paper cup, brewed a cup of tea for himself, and said with a smile, "Cough, if you have any objections, you can go to Li Xueming, I don't know. However, before I do this, I would like to remind everyone that if you are stupid, you should read more. Don't be suspicious of this and that all day long. Waste time." Chapter 46 Genius should always maintain confidence in yourself. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Oh, by the way, Lao Lin, you have 2 150s in your class. It's very good. If you work hard, you may be able to catch up with Qin Luo, but the chance is not big. Qin Luo was stunned. He found that Chen Shuqing was not only very poisonous in his actions, but his mouth was not inferior at all. With just a few words, everyone was furious. If eyes can kill people, Chen Shuqing has been killed 180 times. Not a single swear word, but every word is stern. Chen Shuqing, what did you say? Say it again. Lin Tianquan's eyelids jumped, and the corners of his mouth twitched. In front of Chen Shuqing, he has always been a winner, but now, everything has changed. He became the object of Chen Shuqing's ridicule. It's fine if you don't hear it clearly. Chen Shuqing shook his head and asked him to say it again. Just say it again. Then I have no face at all. You. Lin Tianxian shivered all over, his palms clenched tightly. He could not wait to slap Chen Shuqing's face. Noisy. Noisy. Teacher Chen is right. Instead of wasting time here, it's better to think about how to improve the quality of teaching. If we can train 2 more students like Qin Luo, our Beishan city will not be at the bottom of the southwest province. The crisp rebuke came, and Li Xueming in a suit walked in with his head held high. He had long thought that such a thing would happen, so he came to school early, first, for the continuation of this digital alliance, and secondly, he also wanted to see Qin Luo. He swept around and went straight to Chen Shuqing, grabbing Chen Shuqing's hands. "Mr. Chen, you have trained a good student for our Beishan city." Chen Shuqing was very excited, and his face instantly flushed. He hasn't felt this way for a long time. "I'm ashamed to say that, I didn't teach Qin Luo too many things. He can achieve today's achievements all by self-study." Chen Shuqing said. "How can there be 1,000 miles without bowl, Mr. Chen, you are too polite." At this time, Qin Luo suddenly stepped forward and said, in an instant, Chen Shuqing trembled all over, with a happy smile on his face. "This is Qin Luo, right? It's really a hero." Li Xueming walked over with a smile, reached out and patted Qin Luo's shoulder, and said loudly, "Your test paper scared us a lot." Cough, originally I just wanted to get a perfect score. Qin Luo smiled awkwardly, originally just wanted to get full marks. Qin Luo sounds as simple as eating and drinking. For a while, everyone lost their voices, and countless pairs of eyes stared at Qin Luo with murderous intent. "Student Zhao, don't you think your words are too full?" Lin Tianxian stared at Qin Luo coldly. "Is it full? I think it's normal. After all, the test questions are very simple." "Arrogant, too arrogant." As soon as the sentence came out, the lounge fell silent at one time. Lin Tianxian was completely speechless. Even as a super teacher, he felt that this set of questions was very difficult, but Qin Luo said it was very easy. Is he not even a student? Okay. Well said. At this moment, Li Xueming spoke up again, patted Qin Luo's shoulder heavily, and said loudly, "A genius should always maintain confidence in himself. Even losing self-confidence, what a genius." What the genius said was right. Lin Tianxian was speechless. Chapter 47. This point is well deserved. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What the genius said was right. Lin Tianxian was speechless. However, he didn't give up on it. There was one more thing he wanted to ask. "Leader Li. What's the matter with the extra points?" Lin Tianxian asked through gritted teeth. "It's very simple. A total of 8 teachers in the math group passed unanimously, and gave extra points to student Zhao for encouragement. Li Xueming waved his hand, and the assistant behind him quickly took out the test paper and handed it to him. The test paper is here, you can read it for yourself. After speaking, Li Xueming stepped aside. I'd like to see what kind of unanimous law it is. Lin Tianxuan's face was ashen. He took the test paper and carefully reviewed it. Multiple choice, no objection, fill in the blanks, no objection, calculation questions, there is no objection. Lin Tianxian was a little surprised, but he was not in a hurry. The final geometric analysis was the key to finding fault. I don't believe that you have no mistakes at all, even if it is a trace of correction. I can deduct your points. Lin Tianxian sneered. However, in the next second, his pupils shrank violently, and the whole person froze in place. I saw that the neatness of the paper was a little scary, and the whole test paper did not even have any trace of modification. The process of doing the questions was clear, the reasoning was reasonable, and the logical relationship was smooth, and there was no point deduction at all. How is this possible? Lao Lin, what's going on, show me. Another teacher came up and opened his eyes. The next second was trembling, one after another. In just 1 minute, almost all the teachers were stunned. Qin Luo's test paper completely subverted their cognition. Perfect. They can't think of any words to describe it except perfect. Compared with Qin Luo's exam papers, one is in the sky and the other is in the ground. Even in their own hearts, there was an illusion that Qin Luo couldn't get additional points, and who else could get it? Silence, silence, silence. The faces of everyone were extremely ugly, and they could not accept such a cruel fact. Now, you know why he won that extra point. Li Xueming looked at everyone with a smile and said with a smile. I know. Everyone's faces darkened and nodded one after another. This point is well deserved. Lin Tianxian said. Congratulations to the host for completing the task, and rewarded with 1,000 points. Get a chance to draw a lottery once. Lottery. In his heart, a big wheel appeared in front of Qin Luo's eyes. Just like last time, the simplicity is extreme, rubbish, acceptable, and fine. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. In the sound of prayer, Qin Luo pressed the button, garbage, gave Qin Luo a bottle of drink, and the boutique gave him a drink recipe chart. So far it's still useless. Qin Luo was completely disappointed with these two options. Let him choose, he would rather choose Shangku. The wheel spins quickly. Stop. After a few seconds, the pointer slowly stopped. Congratulations to the host for winning the draw. Analysis of Zhou's conjecture. Qin Luo suddenly widened his eyes. Qin Luo must not be unfamiliar with Zhou's conjecture, because Zhou Haizhong is a mathematician who went out from Beishan No. 4 Middle School. Zhou's guess is a guess made by Chinese mathematician and linguist Zhou Haizhong in his article The Distribution Law of Mersenne Primes in 1992. It is named Zhou's guess internationally. His expression seems simple, but it is very difficult to crack the guess. Judging from the current research literature, some mathematicians and mathematics enthusiasts have tried to prove Zhou's conjecture, but they have racked their brains, but have found nothing. Chapter 48. Actually, I'm going to Cambridge. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just when Qin Luo wanted to find out, Lin Tianxuan's words brought him back to reality. Student Qin, are you interested in coming to our No. 2 middle school? I can guarantee that you will get a recommended spot in a top-ranking school. If you can get the first prize in the country, even Peking University and Tsinghua University will be fine. Lin Tianxian said with a smile. The unique mathematical genius in the history of Beishan City. No one wants to get this kind of talent, pulling people. No, this is already Qiguogua's robbing people. Everyone was furious, but there was nothing they could do. Lin Tianxian raised his hand and gave out a double first-class recommended quota, which suddenly raised the price to the sky. In the entire Beishan City, only Beishan Air has this qualification. No student could resist such a temptation. Lin Tianxian, what do you mean? Chen Shuqing yelled angrily. It's no fun. The best students deserve the best education. You. Chen Shuqing's face turned pale, and stared at him angrily. Don't think about it. Would you like to see what classmate Qin means? Lin Tianxian smiled and said, what do you think? Classmate Qin. Guarantee double first class. As long as he is a high school student, no one can refuse this temptation, even Qin Luo is no exception. Actually, I'm going to Cambridge. Bang dang, Lin Tianxian stumbled under his feet and fell directly to the ground. He stared at Qin Luo with wide eyes, quiet. Deathly quiet. After a moment of silence, there was an uproar in the lounge. That is Cambridge, a world-renowned school. There are no more than 5 admissions places in China each year, and all of them are all-rounders. Qin Luo is too daring to think about it. So lofty, so lofty. Cambridge, world-famous school, how can you go to if you want? Cough, Qin Luo, can we say something practical? Cambridge is still too far away for you. Li Xueming said comfortingly. Is it far? Qin Luo shrugged indifferently and said with a smile, what if I prove Zhou's conjecture, Zhou's conjecture. As soon as the sentence came out, the whole audience was shocked. It has been 16 years since Zhou's conjecture was proposed in 1992. At the end of these 16 years, countless mathematicians and scholars have conducted in-depth research on it, but they have all ended without success, and have not come up with an accurate demonstration process. Qin Luo, can he prove it? How old is he? At 17 or 18, can he prove Zhou's conjecture? Nobody believed it, even the leading teacher, Chen Shuqing, didn't believe it. He acknowledged Qin Luo's talent in mathematics, but Zhou's conjecture could not be solved by talent, it would take a long time and sweat. Cough, Qin Luo, we are still young, and we still have time. I believe you will be able to prove Zhou's conjecture in the future. Chen Shuqing patted Qin Luo on the shoulder and said with a smile, but, let's pay attention now. Focus on the digital linkage. That's right. This connection is related to the quota of the provincial team, and it is related to the honor of our southwestern province. Let's put it aside for the first time about Zhou's conjecture. Li Xueming also echoed. These days, how come no one believes the truth? Helpless, Qin Luo could only nod his head. However, he has already made a plan in his mind, and after the number of associations, he will publish it in the Journal of Mathematics. Li Xueming nodded with satisfaction, said a few words of encouragement again, and slowly left the lounge. Seeing this situation, all the teachers also quietly backed out. Chapter 49, Ben Xueba advises you to be cautious. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Student Qin, you can consider my proposal. Before leaving, Lin Tianxian reiterated. Qin Luo didn't speak, just shook his head lightly. When people went to the building, the lounge suddenly became empty. The schoolmasters of Beishan No. 4 Middle School stared at Qin Luo with complex expressions. There is unwillingness, resentment, and more deep admiration. From the rise of Qin Luo to the 151 points that made the history of the Digital Alliance, it only took more than 2 months. He is like a comet, shining all beings. Shine brighter than the sun. I don't want to admit it, but it's a given. I will surpass you. Huang Zhen said, turning around and leaving the classroom. The host's knowledge aroused the shock of the scumbag, and the academic master value plus 188. Students work hard, the harder you work, the stronger I will be. Qin Luo, I want to ask you a question. Lin Shanshan stepped on her high heels and came to Qin Luo. Question. Looking at Lin Shanshan's flickering big eyes, Qin Luo's heart flashed a little. Shouldn't she like me? Should I refuse, or accept? This Xueba advises you to be cautious in your words and deeds. Qin Luo said sternly, Xueba doesn't need a girlfriend. Lin Shanshan is about to collapse. Every time he communicates with Qin Luo, he is like this. Can we still communicate happily? Can we still play friendly? She almost gritted her teeth and said these words, Lin Shanshan, I want to ask you to be my tutor. Help me with maths. What the hell is a tutor? Seeing that Qin Luo didn't speak for a long time, Lin Shanshan whispered, forget it if you don't want to, I'll ask someone else. How much? Qin Luo asked with a serious face. He decided to test the price first, and was considering whether to agree. Besides, he was short of money. If knowledge cannot be realized, what is the use of knowledge? A class is 200. Lin Shanshan thought for a while and said, 2 hours a day, travel expenses are reimbursed, meals are reimbursed, what do you think? How many? 200 per session, is that low? How about 300? After listening, Qin Luo slowly walked towards the door of the classroom. Still don't want to. Lin Shanshan's eyes flashed with disappointment. It's getting late, let's start making up lessons. Qin Luo said lightly. Ah, really? I thought you were too little. Lin Shanshan let out a long sigh of relief when she heard Qin Luo's words. Qin Luo didn't answer, just looked up at the sky and sighed softly, oh, so angry. There is a great man who once said, people are more popular than dead people. Of course, what he meant was that he could be mad at others, but Qin Luo was almost mad at others. A class is 300, 2 hours a day is 5 classes, 1,500. This is equivalent to the profit of Qin Luo's small restaurant for a week. Even if the restaurant business is getting better now, it is far from being a tutor. It's good to be a scholar. Taking out his mobile phone, Qin Luo called Fu Xiaowan. Mom, don't wait for me to eat tonight, I'll be back later. Ah, not a girlfriend, but a female student. Cough, not being a teacher, being a tutor, not a teacher-student love. While Fu Xiaowan kept asking, Qin Luo hurriedly hung up the phone. For his mother, Fu Xiaowan, he really had nothing to do. Chapter 50. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next day, after having lunch and resting for an hour, the second test of the two-part series came as promised. Just like yesterday, enter the examination room 15 minutes early, prepare the answering tools, and quietly wait for the arrival of the examination bell. At 2 o'clock, the second examination of the number of joints officially started. Qin Luo was ready for a long time. He picked up the test paper and saw that there were only 3 questions, but the invigilator gave a full 3 sheets of scratch paper. The first question, geometry, is worth 15 points, the second question, algebra, 15 points, the third question, the calculation of pure series, 30 points. A total of 60 points. Math exams have always had a rule that the higher the score, the harder the exam. This seemingly ordinary number sequence problem is indeed the most difficult one. Problem solving, first question. Well, although it is the easiest question on the test paper, it is enough to scare off 99% of the candidates in the country. This is a real test for geniuses. A right-angled trapezoid is drawn on the test paper, and in the positive direction, there are 3 lines P, M, and Q on the outside of the figure. It is required to prove that the PMQ is perpendicular to the trapezoid and square intersect, various lines crisscross, there are as many as 12 intersection points. Can you make up this beautiful picture? Just thinking about it makes my scalp go numb. I don't know who made the question. Isn't this a deliberate attempt to kill the scumbags? Qin Luo looked around and wailed everywhere. Simply, although this question is difficult, it is still acceptable to Qin Luo. Divide 2 by 3 and 5, and solve the first question. Time, 5 minutes. Then came the second question of algebra, which was not a problem for Qin Luo. In 3 minutes, the answer was already on the paper. The last one left, a sequence worth 30 points. Looking around, Qin Luo smiled helplessly. The loneliness of a master. However, in the next second, he froze in place. This sequence is very unusual. Prove. When P2 caret, 2 caret, n plus 1, MP has 2 caret, n plus 2, n, 2 prime numbers, m. This is completely a deformation of Zhou's conjecture. He said whether he believed it or not, but he was quite honest in his heart. Qin Luo can be sure that the person who produced this set of papers is Li Xueming. In a sense, this is an exam specially prepared for him. Called out of the system warehouse, took out the scroll, Qin Luo pinched it. At this moment, the academic hall opened a door for Qin Luo, and Zhou conjectured that theoretical knowledge rushed to Qin Luo like a broken yellow river. In the monitoring room, through the cameras in the examination room, Li Xueming was monitoring Qin Luo's every move. Zhou guessed that it was a question he added temporarily, and the purpose was very simple. He just wanted to grind Qin Luo's temper. Huaxia has never lacked talents, but looking at the world, there are few Chinese scientists who can achieve success in academia. One of the important reasons is that they are too arrogant and ambitious. Qin Luo, the most outstanding math genius in Beishan City's generation, he didn't want Qin Luo to go down the same path as everyone else. Li Xueming smiled. Qin Luo's embarrassment of not being able to write was already expected by him. Dummy, boy, Zhou's conjecture is not so easy to prove. Team leader, you are not afraid to scare him. A middle-aged judge said with a wry smile. Originally, there were only 2 questions in the second test, and the last one was added temporarily by Li Xueming despite all the opinions, just for Qin Luo. If you don't cut jade, you won't become a weapon. He may become the second Zhou Haizhong in Beishan City. Li Xueming said with a smile.